I think it's a real sort of shapeshift of a film that kind of initially appears to be very much about one thing, and then turns out through this kind of anti-character study of this woman who doesn't know who she is, and we kind of find out in tandem with her, which is fascinating. And then it turns out to be about something, I think, much larger, about sort of contemporary feminism, about Israeli and Palestinian politics, about personal politics as well. It's, as Tim said, a very, very dense, and I've now watched it twice, and I still think there's more to unpack in it.
A lot of it is about women as well as identity. So I'm just, Larushka, I'll ask you, being another woman, does it make a difference? I mean, she's got so much to say about being a woman, hasn't she?
She has, and I think it's definitely one of those films that you watch and you feel it is made by a woman, that it isn't refracted through a male gaze. What I liked about the film is that it doesn't have those overt sort of female themes. I mean, they have got her womb being made into a handbag, and there is that, but it's done in a very playful way. But in another film, the idea of the Palestinian woman being sent to Kuwait to be married off would be the entire kind of subject of the film. And what I like about this is that it isn't overtly about such issues, which would frame the women within the context of man and marriage and all these things. It's much more about them as individuals that happen to be women working through the various questions of their identity, and that's what I really responded to.
I mean, I think it's a beautifully structured film, because what I love about it is the way she kind of loses a bit of herself. She loses herself kind of one piece at a time throughout the entire film. She begins by kind of losing her memory and consciousness. Then she gradually finds out this kind of very extreme physical part of herself that she has willingly lost. And then she eventually loses her identity completely through this odd kind of identity swap that you're never quite sure if this is a sort of fantastical metaphysical thing or if it's kind of very complex role play exercise. She sort of keeps her cards very close to her chest there, and I think it's up to us to interpret it the way you want. I think it sort of says, either way, it says a lot about their sort of various positions in society.
I mean, I think there's loads going on there. I think one of the things I was reading about her is that she's very, very inspired by fairy tales and Rubbit Grimm, and that sort of feeds into all her sort of surreal stuff. But also that scene with all the furniture coming in is very much sort of, she was wanting to sort of respond to the scene in Fantasia. But she didn't want to flood her room with water, she wanted to flood her with sort of flat pack furniture.
הקיים. כן. ניסן, זריז.
מה? סליחה? מה?
It's also got, I think, also just incredibly vibrant visuals. It's those kind of punches of colour. It makes it very, I think it's very easy to market that way. So I'm hoping it will find an audience. Yeah.
Let's just talk about the what we might call the new wave of Israeli cinema.
The female perspective is the thing that I'm really enjoying at the moment, because I think in the recent years, in the last decade, we've seen films like Beaufort, also Bashir, very kind of male films about military issues and kind of the state and border. But I think that there's more of a focus in these films on domesticity and everyday life, which I think is really to be kind of celebrated, actually.